Okay, so I'm going to make the intro to this kind of short and sweet, unless you have anything like immediate to say.
Just like basically how it happened and what it is.
So first off, I mean, you heard us talk about this in the last episode if you listened, but recently the band End Rain released an album called The Way of All Flesh is Decay, and it is Mike Score from All Out War, Dom from Integrity, who we're going to be speaking with here shortly, and is it Art from Bloodlet, Sebastian from Exhumed. Can't remember the drummer's name off the top of my head.
Pig Destroyer
Sorry,
and Misery
dude.
Index.
Yeah, Pig Destroyer and Misery Index. So it's kind of like a little metal supergroup, but it's definitely vocally and like lyrically, it is very similar to All Out War, which I don't say that as a bad thing. I mean that as a endearing, really great thing, because we fucking love All Out War. And musically, it's got like its own spin on it. I mean, it's
Definitely.
very like the solos are really sweet. I love the different melodies and riffs that come about throughout the whole album. The artwork I think is really cool. I think it fits the sound of the record very well. And they just recently released it this last Friday, which would have been the 14th, I believe.
Yep.
They put it out via Relapse Records, so if you're local, I'll have them in the store here soon. And if you're anybody who has a store near you, go check out your local record store and pick it up there if you're able to, or order it from Relapse if you are unable to. Even if you don't have the means to buy it, definitely go check it out and stream it, because it is a fucking awesome record.
I will attach the record as a playlist to the episode when it gets released, so check that out. This came up real quick, this episode. We had 20 minutes to prepare, which really was only about 10 seconds. So
I was driving for 19 of those minutes.
Yeah. So enjoy.
Yeah, we're going to play a track off the album. This is track 2 called Chaos Marked as Order, and then we'll jump into the conversation with Dom and get into that. Savior! On the throne of contradiction, consume the cups of crucifixion. Break the venom of foundation. In the ruts of submission. Weep in the name of irony, and rejoice in the strength of illusion. There can be no heaven without the faith of hell. The veil of angels conceal the face of devils. Chaos masters order. Praise democracy. You burn in torment. Stop my rage forever. Hail the prophet of eternity. Chaos masters order. Praise democracy. Our willpower is one. Welcoming the end. Intoxicating immortality. Ritual delirium.
servants and soothing music 24/7. Despite the signs, the screams, the plays, the weather, the thunder of hideous hooves, it was all okay.
Feel the air. I feel the air.
So
we
you're the mastermind. In the mastermind, we believe you are Dom.
That's me.
That's
Hi, how's it
you.
going?
Good, man. Good. I was just kind of fucking with you earlier. Like I was grocery shopping at like our.
Yeah.
It was like a half a grocery shopping trip. I just go to like this little one. So I was jamming it, your record, and then I was just like hitting you up to try to like fuck with you, not really in all seriousness. And then I'm like, call Ryan, and I'm like, you want to do this right now? You know, because I just happened not to go to work today, so it's very random.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Yeah, I'm
fucking
sorry.
cool.
I'm not really good at corresponding sometimes. And like, this is more action I've seen on my social media in a long time.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
like,
right.
Either my kids or my cats, you know what I mean? Like one person will reply. So like, I'm just like, it's sensory overload for me. So I'm sorry it took a minute to get this organized, but
No,
figured
not at
now
all.
is good.
It's not a big deal. We do the podcast in the back of my record store, so it I don't know. It's not like I was doing a whole lot, anyways.
Yeah, like Monday's pretty
Where are you
slow.
guys?
We're in Alpena in northeastern Michigan.
Oh, cool. I lied about playing a show in Alpena once in 1997 or 98 to get over the border. We tried to say we were taking a shortcut in Michigan.
Yeah.
We were playing Alpena. And they were like, you're not going to Alpena. They thought like we made it up. They didn't let us in. I
No
still
shit.
remember.
Weird.
That is
Yeah.
ironic.
I think we
They
were supposed
probably,
to play a record store in Alpena
yeah,
a long time ago, though.
they probably called your bluff, and they're like, "Fucking shows don't happen in Alpena." Yeah, right.
You had to really bump it back then, man.
Oh,
We would play
dude.
like someone's like living room in Syracuse, and they were like, we need to see a recording contract showing that you're not making any money. We know you're making a bunch of money. We just talked to the promoter, and it was like Ryan Canavan, the guy that does Hanging Like a Hex and Hex Records.
Yeah, yeah.
And literally we playing dude's living room, you know, and they're just like, no, you can't come in. Sorry. I have like a list a mile long of all the times we got booted trying to come over, and then I moved over here, and then problem was solved, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah. Where are you located at?
I live in Baltimore, Maryland,
Okay.
just a little north in the burbs, in the burb called Parkville. Still part of Baltimore. I'm from Toronto originally.
Okay.
Moved here in the early 2000s.
That's what's up.
For some reason, I always
Yeah.
thought you were located in Detroit, just because of your label, like putting all the Cold as Life stuff out and whatnot.
No, I wanted to create the illusion that those guys were posting things, which is, you know, kind of funny if you think about it, those dudes posting things.
Yeah.
But it's illusion could go a long way, I guess, you know.
Yeah. No, I was
Just
happy.
getting good at the IG, so
I was
not
happy to see
impossible now.
those records get re-released, because even the
Oh, man.
CDs were hard to find for quite a while.
yeah, I mean, it was a dream come true for me. I've always wanted to do it and didn't think it would be possible. And then one day it was. I actually just got they just okayed the layout for Declination, so that's going to go to it's at press right now. Hopefully
Fuck
it'll be
yeah.
out in time for October. But it's completely remixed and remastered. We got the original tapes. We fixed the drums so the drums don't sound like Saint
Clicky.
Anger anymore.
Yep.
Uh,
I knew exactly what
it's,
you were going to
it's
say.
still the same format, but it just sounds way heavier. Taylor Young remixed it, so it sounds like really
That's gonna
good.
be
It sounds
dope.
like the sister album to Born.
Okay.
Yeah, people will be excited. I think it.
I can't
Everyone's
wait
right.
to compare
What they had
it,
with
dude, to the CD now. Like, I love fucking hearing mixes over other ones to be like, they fucking ruined this shit, you know? Hardcore never gets ruined
Yeah,
when
you
they
know,
mix it. It sounds like way better now.
Yeah, you know, it's got to be. It's like I hate when stuff gets tinkered with, but there's a few exceptions. Like those Sepultura re-recordings they just did, the Cavalier brothers did for the first two Sepultura records are amazing. I've been listening to them like all week. You know, it's been like
Yeah, I just
so
seen
sometimes you can hit it and win it, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's a gamble.
somebody post those like literally the last time I opened my phone. So it's funny that you say that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's killer. Even the artwork.
Sepultura ones.
Yep. So, End Rain, that's mainly here what we're here to talk about, not all the Cold as Life stuff, as exciting as all that is. But, so, you're the mastermind behind the project. Like, why don't you tell us sort of how this band came about?
It came about during the pandemic. Integrity. I was playing Integrity for many years, and we had just got done doing Australia right before, literally, like as the pandemic was starting. We were seeing all kinds of stuff, like people being quarantined on the flight. And we were like, "What is going on?" You know, it was like real wild, very very frightening and confusing, which is like weird. And and then boom, next thing you know, we were all locked in our houses for a really long time with nothing to do. I decided I would start writing songs, and when I write for Integrity or Pulling Teeth or whatever other band I would do, it was always like I would just write a bunch of mini songs, like out of the riffs, like the one riff is his own little song, and then I would just, find the ones that work well together and kind of put the songs together that way.
Did you say
But
Pulling
having
Teeth?
time on my,
You were in
I'm
Pulling
sorry, what?
Teeth. You were in Pulling Teeth as well.
Yeah.
No shit. Damn, dude. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I heard that
Okay.
go by.
And then I was like trying to write songs from top to bottom, which is something I normally don't do. I usually just write a bunch of parts, and then eventually they kind of get cobbled together into something cool.
Yeah.
And it started happening, and I started being like, all right, what am I going to do with all these songs? They're not really Integrity songs. I'm just going to send them to my friends who are probably also bored.
Right.
And, not anything. We started just making songs. The guy had a bunch of different songs that went to different people. And the idea was I was just going to make a mixtape, like dub mixtapes, and send them to all my friends. That would be cool, And then I sent Mike Swore the one song we did. It was called House of Thieves, which is also on the album.
Yeah.
And we were just worshiping Best Wishes from Cro-Mags at the time. We were like, that Cro-Mags record had just come out in the beginning. We were both like, man, I wish this sounded more like Best Wishes, And
Right.
then I'm like, we should write a song that sounds like Best Wishes. Like, kind of like, I always like writing things that I wish. I'm not ashamed to wear my influences on my sleeve. I always like to just, this is what I wish it would sound like, or like what I would like for it to sound like. And kind of where we went with that. And it worked out really cool. So we just kept going. And before you know it, we had a whole album written. It was time to do it.
Yeah. No.
That's kind of how the band came together.
Now, when did you, because I got that 2-song demo cassette thing because of The Cold is Life. Like, because you were on that label, I was like, well, this is worth checking out. And then I heard it and it was like, oh, shit. So how did that get on there? And then, because it took you, like, what, 2 years to get the album out?
Yeah, what happened was the 2 songs were finished first, and then I kind of just, I was really, all the bands, there's like 4 or 5 other bands that are completely done. And, each record takes really long. It takes like a couple years because, I work full time. I got 3 kids. I got all other things going on. It's like, I can't really be like, take a big chunk out of my life and just knock it out. I kind of have to work it at piecemeal,
Gotcha.
So I did 2 songs and just to show people, and like hopefully get people interested in it. And that's how that came about. We kind of did those 2 songs. They're different than the ones on the album. Those ones are just me and Jarvis and Mike. And Artie's on it, but we didn't have Sebastian in the band yet. They weren't really the final versions. It was just something, to show everybody.
It sounds totally different compared to streaming the new one anyway.
Yeah, the solos are different. It's just little nerd stuff, but yeah. And then we just Relapse heard it and they liked it, and I was able to graciously accept their offer to put it out, which made my life a hell of a lot easier because just pushing that little tape was like hey, maybe I got some time. Like, just trying to catch up with you guys, it's really about finding
and then
randomly to do something. Launching a record in that circumstance is a lot harder. So I'm like, I was really glad they were able to help me out with this and get it everywhere. Everyone seems to be hearing it and enjoying it, which is really, really cool.
Did you pitch the tape to Relapse originally, or did they just out of the blue hear it and get a hold of you?
No, I sent the tape. I sent the tape to like all my friends and just were like, just with no intention other than just really check it out. What do you think?
Right.
They liked it, and I'm like, I have a whole record that's like done. The drums are all done, all the rhythm guitars are done. Like it's kind of like I just got to finish solos and vocals, and it's done. And they were, we just kept in touch about it as it progressed. And by the time the Decibel Flexi came out, they were all in. They're like, let's do this, and we did it. And here we are, like a couple years later from when we started, and it's all done. It's all bagged up, and it looks and sounds exactly the way I hoped it would. So it's really, really cool that there's not like a single disappointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
maybe there's a typo
definitely.
I haven't seen, but I checked 1,000 times. I think we're good.
Yeah,
I love the fucking sound of it, man. It's like it's fucking evil sounding,
Oh, thank you.
That's why it's cool to grocery shop and listen to it, dude. Just want to fucking get out of there.
Man, yeah. I do the same thing when I'm at the grocery shop. If I cut the grass, I'm always like, it's like Tough Guy Mix 2000. If I'm cutting the grass, I don't want my wife to know what I'm listening to. I get kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
So meat-headed, stuff makes the cut when I'm cutting grass, you know. So I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah, the artwork of the album I loved. Like, I think it really fit the sound to it and just the whole lore of what it looks
Yeah.
like. And I don't know, I've streamed it probably 8 or 9 times now. Like, it's
Yeah, it's killer.
because it's short. Like, I was listening to it this morning at the gym, and then I've been like posting it on our Instagram. And then the last episode that we just did, we talked a little bit about it in there too. And I've just been telling
cool.
people, like, check the record out. And especially, like, if you're a fan of All Out War, like, obviously Mike's vocal style is very similar to All Out War. So I'm like, if you're a fan of All Out War, definitely check this out. It's, like, vocally the same, but it's got a completely different guitar tone and everything to it, which
I think it's
thought
way
was
heavier
really cool.
sounding.
Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, All Out War is its own animal, you know. It's like that last record was totally like, you know, Watain and Dark Throny.
Yeah.
And,
Celestial Rot.
Celestial Rot.
I
Yeah.
can't ever
They've
say
been a band
that shit.
forever, so they're kind of like on their own trip. They're doing a different thing, but you know, End Rain definitely is influenced by All Out War. They're one of my all-time favorites. You know,
Yeah, us too, man. We love
For
that
us,
fucking band.
the holy four corners of integrity, Ringworm, All Out War, and like Marauder is like it's like the Bible, you know, for like
Yeah,
writing that
for
kind
sure.
of stuff. And then the other influences that came in the mix and made it what it was, you know.
Integrity's
cool.
another
All War's-
band, dude, I've been listening to forever. It's so fucking crazy.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
they,
exactly.
you know, they took that long break and then back together. It's fucking
Integrity will never die. You know,
no,
what I mean?
dude.
It's like it'll live everybody, but it's always like, you know, whenever it does surface, it's always worth checking out. There's always something really great. So
Yeah,
I'm really proud to have had a small role in that little time that I was in the band. It's some pretty
Definitely.
cool stuff.
So who did the artwork for the album?
Yeah, I know it was a woman.
The artwork was done by Michelle Edison,
I forgot
and
her
she
name.
was the bass player of the band Starkweather. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them. They're another '90s band.
Starkweather, yeah.
Starkweather, yeah, they're like a real weird, like kind of they were like a fringier band, big influence on like Converge and Overcast, bands like that, like in the '90s. They're
Yep.
like kind of like the first band to do that, singing and real like chaotic, unpredictable would be a good way to put it. You know,
Yep.
it's worth checking out. And she was the bass player in that band, and she also would do their artwork. So you know, she's been on my radar forever. Plus,
That's
she's also
gnarly.
coincidentally Mike's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you know, originally the artwork was a poster. It was Away from Voivod's illustration was the artwork, and you know we were moving forward with that. And then I just saw Michelle's painting, and I was like, wow, this is exactly how I feel like when I listen to this record and when I wrote these songs, like the music for them. I was like, this is the total vibe I was going for. You know, like life after the end of the world, and the world is just kind of regenerating itself. It's perfect. I think it found me. You know, I didn't find it. It found me at the right
Yeah,
time. It was
definitely cool.
really cool.
I really like all those like tie-ins with like all your fucking homeboys and like bands from the 90s to now, like still influencing records. I think that's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's kind of always been my MO. You know what I mean? I kind of try to bring I lug a trunk of everything I've ever liked behind me at all times. And it's like a toolbox, you know, you go in and you find the stuff that you want to use in the recipe and you kind of throw it together, you know, and more often than not, it works out.
So like in your lyrics and shit, where do you, aside from like the obvious, where do you find inspiration?
Oh, that's all Mike's score. If I wrote words, it would sound like,
Oh, so
It would be
all
really-
the lyrics were
Good.
Mike?
yeah, it would have like the
Okay.
cadence of Run DMC or Grandmaster Flash song if I was doing that.
Gotcha.
It'd be very articulate and like, you know, like syllable perfect and
Oh
everything
yeah,
had to rhyme.
well
I
that
could
makes a lot of sense because I mean I'm like it's the same subject matter, it's in the same and Mike's singing it, so I wasn't really sure, and then you're like, I'm the mastermind, and I'm like, well fuck man, maybe he did everything, you know.
Oh no, just you know, I put it all together, but
Fucking
lyrics
great.
lyrics and vocals or something, you know, I just leave that to the professionals, you know.
Oh right.
It's-
But if you're trying to show like the end of the world or the end of the world after, I definitely
Mhm.
like it's either gonna. Some people think it might sound like Slayer in Hell or after. I think or up to the end of the world. I think it would sound more of an All Out War End Rain sound, just because it's way heavier,
Yep.
you know.
yeah, I mean, end of the work it could look a lot of ways for a lot of different people, you know. It could be terrible. It could be something real, like just like
Oh yeah, no, it
Just be
could be
noise,
like
you know?
Ricky Martin or something, or like The Dixie Chicks naked on poles singing whatever hit they had.
Yeah, it's a
So is
hell's
the
all about perspective. Everyone have their own version.
Yup. Perspective.
is the physical copy of the record already out, or is it a pre-order still?
Yeah. Actually, it came out Friday. So
Oh, it came out on
people started
release
getting
day.
them last
Okay.
week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I see
people
it
started
right
getting them
now.
as we were getting them. So
I'm still
my
waiting.
score was like, I haven't seen it. And,
that's
I
funny.
think he got his today or Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna be ordering. I have wholesale set up with Relapse, so I'm ordering some right now.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, please spread
Oh,
the good
yeah,
word.
dude.
Anyone that'll care.
So what's the future look like?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you? I know it's new and fresh, but you guys have any plan to tour as End Rain, or is it kind of up in the air still?
It's tough because we Adam Jarvis, the drummer, is in like every band ever. He's in Pig Destroyer. He's in the Misery Index. He's in Lockup. He's like always on tour with somebody, so he's always busy.
Yeah.
And then Sebastian's in Exhumed and Noisem, so he's always gone. Then Mike is in All War and he's teaching. And then, I have a career outside of music that consumes most of my time and 3 kids, so I'm not really available. And then Artie's like the most mysterious of all. No one knows what he's doing, but he's impossible.
And it,
So,
that seems to be
we're like,
the
let's
way
do
it's
it.
going. A lot of
We're like,
good
let's only
music.
do it if it's all 5 of us. Let's not like scab it out. So it's like, if it works out and all 5 of us can be in the same place at the same time, then I would love to. I'm open. Definitely got me back on my guitar playing again to make sure if it does happen, I don't suck and embarrass myself. 'Cause I haven't played in a
Oh,
while.
dude, I would love to see this shit live. So you said like you have another career. What's that entail?
Yeah, I work in stormwater management engineering.
Okay.
It's not very exciting. Kind of like, if it rains, we make sure the rain goes where it's supposed to go, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You test water samples, shit like that.
That's another department, but I mean, it's all connected. Yeah. We're like more into just the routing where, make sure it goes where it needs to go. It doesn't flood the road, doesn't create any like sort of safety issues.
Right on. What about your kids? What are their ages?
Those guys this year are 13, 11, and 9. So
A little younger than mine.
Oh yeah, how about you?
I have a 16-year-old, and Ryan how old's your son?
Almost 13.
Almost 13. Yeah,
Nice.
we're music obsessed dads as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. For me, I was like, all the young people have all those cool bands for young people that they like, and it's cool. But
Yeah.
but when you're like, young, you want to see like your peers up there. So I kind of created something that's for my peers. Just want to see like other dads and other older dudes like just still doing their thing and still doing it pretty okay. It's like
that's another thing though that was really cool about, and I think Ryan pointed it out, was like we were looking at a picture of you guys, and he was like, "Man, a couple of these dudes look pretty old." And I look, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" They, like, cause I'm 38, so it's like,
you're still babies. You're in the 30s.
Yeah, I'm still good, but like for a hardcore kid, man, I'm fucking ancient. So I see, so it's like that's another appeal though, to be like, fuck yeah, dude. There's still people that are writing music,
making good music
for like our kind of people, if you will.
It's like, there's a lot of ageism towards older people because it's a young person's world when it comes to music, but it's also, I think there's something out there for everybody. You just got to find it. And like, it's all about what you connect with. And I think,
Yeah. I feel like the touring side of things is the young side. And then you can still make music and put it out. You just might not be able to do a whole West Coast tour every 3 months or something.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's kind of like where I'm at. That's where most of us are at. Mike Score manages to get out there a lot still. But with me, it's just, it's just not possible.
I seen them playing with like Mortician and stuff not that long ago.
Yeah, in New Jersey, and that's like, a few hours for me, but I'm still like, man, that's a few hours. You'd be like, it's a few hours, but then you're also like, man, it's a few hours. It's like, you don't want to make that drive. It's just too much because then there's a drive back.
Yeah.
Oh, no, definitely, man. We talk about going to shows and like...
We got to drive like 3-4 hours usually for any half-ass decent show from where we're at.
Oh, right on. I mean, Detroit seems to be doing amazing right now. I know.
Yep. We're about 4 hours north of Detroit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
yeah, dude, there's
I've made that drive
coming
there and back the same night many times.
Oh, yeah, fuck that. I don't do that anymore.
I won't do it anymore, but I've done it.
I stay at somebody's house or get a fucking room.
Yeah, I was telling my kids about how, like, we would like play and then drive all night and go to work the next morning.
Yep.
Like nothing. I'm just like,
Yeah.
forget it. I need like days to recover, even from like
Yeah.
I stay up past 11.
You
Like
just
those.
pull up at work and sleep in the parking lot and like walk right in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's cool.
we've been there and did it. It's like
Yeah.
we got to experience it. Someone
Aside
else
from
obviously done.
End Rain, you run A389 Records as well.
Yep, that's correct.
How did you start your own label? Like, I don't remember how long the label itself has actually been around.
It was back in 2004. I was in a band called Slumlords, and Slumlords was kind of blessed with the opportunity to be one of the first bands that didn't have to tour because we were also old dudes. I was
Yeah.
younger back then, but the other dudes in the band were kind of old. It was Jeff from Breakdown, Scott from Stout and stuff. So, like touring was really not in the cards. And we were like one of the first bands that was able to just kind of play the fest circuit and leave it at that. So I started A389 as an opportunity to help out. Like, I think I always looked out for the older dudes because it was kind of a thing where I'm like, all right, the older dudes, they can't go out and get out there right now. At least we can get the record out there and people can hear these cool bands.
Fuck,
And it's
much
kind of,
appreciated, man. I don't think
at
we
the
would have
time, it
ever
was
seen those
Wisdom
Cold
and
as Life
Chains.
presses.
Yeah, like Cold as Life is like, obviously way higher up the ladder. But this was like when Wisdom has Changed was just starting out, was just a brand new band. There was like a Baltimore band called Bring It On. Just like, just trying to get Everyday Dollars, which was like a Killing Time, Dark Side NYC side project. And it was just like trying to push all that stuff out. And then when Slumlords broke up, it became, focus became Pulling Teeth, came all about, that's always been the style I championed. That was like that metallic
Yeah.
hardcore sound. So, then that's when
Yeah,
the label
Pulling
kind of,
Teeth is fucking
right.
awesome, man. I
Oh,
like
thanks.
that band as well. Like, fucking, that's when you said that earlier. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't put that together.
We played, I think it was Detroit proper. It was a skate shop up there.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw Earth Crisis play their, like, 25th anniversary, or 20th anniversary of Destroy the Machines or something. It was fucking crazy.
Oh, wow.
It was weird. Again,
We
old
stayed
people.
with some dude. He was like in that band Tyrant, and
Yep.
for life, I can remember because he was the nicest guy and like a super gracious host. But we were kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie, man. We're just like it's intimidating, intimidating presence. We're just like, oh man, Detroit's intense. We're just like nerds.
Yeah, for sure. I could see. I think a lot of people have a misconception of it, really.
I mean,
for sure.
Like, it definitely is tough, but it is also like very wholehearted, especially
Absolutely.
in the hardcore community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say it in part jest. Where
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah, but then you think about the Bad Boys in the '80s. I'm not talking about that. That shit would be crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always had a special place. Like,
yeah, it's crazy, nuts.
Cold as Life and Earth Mover have always been like two of my favorites from there.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Like, definitely always have some, and Hate Inc. is great.
Shit, we've had Hate Inc. play up here, Tyrant, Walls of Jericho played up here a long time ago when they just had like their first album out on like Jeanette. That was pretty cool.
Beast is one of those dudes, which like he's like the scariest dude ever, and then when you talk to him, he's like the nicest guy ever. But
yeah.
I was interrogated by Columbo every time I talk to him. It was like the way he asks questions and he carries a conversation is very like interrogative.
Weird.
It's just like,
I've never had that long of a conversation with them, except for like that was sweet, dude. Thanks,
Who are you guys talking about?
Yeah, he's the best.
Mike Hasty.
Mike Hasty. Yeah, I've never talked to him for
He's
more
one of
than
my
like a
favorites.
second.
He's great.
I think he does real estate or something now.
Yeah, he does. Yep. I saw him trying to sell
Mike Hasty.
Yeah.
He was trying to sell a house like palm tree. There's like there was things in there that are not in Michigan, and I'm like,
he's in Florida.
Yeah, I'm like, and I see he's in Florida exactly.
Right on, good for him.
Michigan palm trees.
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I know it's Garden City, but like, come on now.
That's funny.
So, are you guys putting out the Dogs of War that's coming up, or is that a different label that's doing that?
We got for A389, it's very, 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 very part time. And next up is Dying Breed. Do you ever get into those guys? They were from like Troy, upstate New York. Hard as fuck. It's like you'd be like 100 Demons and Marauder.
Oh yeah, dude.
Then Dying Breed is right up there. Hate Breed, like in their prime. And that band God's Hate is actually named after a Dying Breed song. If that gives you, an indication of what they sound like, it's like just fucking.
Oh yeah, dude. We listen to Dying Breed. We know what's up. That's fucking crazy that you're even like. It's cool how, like you're saying, you're kind of like getting bigger and bigger, but you get to do it at your own pace, It's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, just that's actually going to come out this week, and then people can order it. It's never been on vinyl, and it's been remastered. It sounds huge, and it's got all this cool shit in it. It's like I'm really excited to put that one out, and
Right
then
on.
Declination after that. You know,
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be pre-ordering that.
awesome.
Has that?
What? No,
that hasn't
like,
come up yet, has it?
no.
Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure
Oh
I've
no,
been watching for
you're not
that.
going to hear about Declination until like September. So
Okay.
it's like, you know,
Yeah, that seems
Very
to be
low-key.
like the month pattern, you know, like September was the
Yeah.
last couple releases, I think. Or at least the pre-order.
yeah, because I usually get one or two out a year, and then like that's the that's the pace I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And
How
even
long
the
of
merch,
a-
that shit's
Okay.
cool too. Sorry, man.
Oh, you're good. How long of a wait time do you typically have when you're pressing up records?
Dude, it's like the Dying Breed. I sent Dying Breed to the plant in like 2021.
Holy shit.
Which sucks. But it's back to normal now. Dying Breed was like one of those last weird anomalies that fell like in that, old timeline. So I had to pay for it up front, and it's a double LP with a huge poster. It wasn't cheap. And then forget about that money for like 2 years,
Yeah.
So excited to see it again, see the money again, put it into something else, put it into the Declination. Honestly, that's where it's going to just roll over into that and keep things moving, But geez, for a while, it took a year or two to get things moving, and now it's like back to like being a few months. So thankfully, Declination will be out before the end of the year.
Yeah, that pleases us, dude. Good looking out on that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited too. I think anyone that likes the band is going to be stoked.
What company do you use for pressing? I know a lot of people use like Pirates Press and shit.
I use A to Z, which is like the East Coast equivalent of Pirates Press. They were based out of New York.
Okay. I've
And
heard
I
the
used
name
Pirates Press for
tossed
years
around.
too. They're great. They both use the same company in Europe to press their records called Cheesy Media. But, it becomes a logistics thing where it's like if you're on the West Coast, it makes sense to use Pirates because Pirates is on the West Coast.
Gotcha.
You
Yeah.
don't have to ship. And A to Z is in New York, so you're only shipping from
Yeah, I don't
New
know
York
what's
as you're out
funny
to
now
get.
that I think about that. It's if you think about it, you notice that. Now I'm gonna notice it like every time I look at something now,
What?
like pirate, and then be like, oh, they're from the West Coast. They're
Oh,
from the East
yeah,
Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We nerd out
it's kind
like
of that.
that.
It's just like, when you're talking about like a pallet or two or three of records, it adds up quick. You know what I
Fuck,
mean?
I bet.
It's not $50. You're talking like thousands. So it's definitely worth it to stay on your coast and try to make things happen that way.
Yeah, no, I know a few people that run their own labels, and the shipping alone and having to put all the money up front is, I mean,
Scary?
Well, yeah, it's nerve-wracking, and also like you gotta, that you can't just get that back right away in most circumstances.
Yeah, or at all. You know what I mean? It's kind of a
or at
gamble.
all.
I mean, I'm
might,
lucky
you
now.
might
Now,
break even or below.
yeah, nowadays it's real specialized what I do, so I know there's an audience for it. But back in like the 2010s, I don't know, what do you call it? Like, you call it the 90s or the 2000s, and is the aughts? Do you call it the 2010s?
I
The
don't
10s?
know.
I don't know.
I don't
Fucking
know. I just say
2010.
2010.
Yeah, but in that era, it was like I was able to try a lot of things and put a lot of bands out because it was still decent to put records out. There's a lot of interest. People wanted to hear new things. But since the internet is just so quick, you can't keep up with it. It's just like, man, breaking a new band, even trying to break my own band when I did that End Rain cassette,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. I mean, you
Oh,
post
yeah.
about it, and that post is gone the next day. It's like under 300 other posts, and it's just like, what do you do?
No, it's a constant battle because there's always something being spammed across social media. That's why it's hard for any band, any creator, podcast, whatever, to get your shit out there because it's buried in millions and millions of other things.
Which is part of the reason
100%,
we wanted to do this podcast, to shine light on bands that we like that would get possibly lost in all the bullshit,
That's awesome, man. It's much appreciated. I know anything that's like a labor of love, just especially, when you're older like us, it's like, it's not like the time is at your fingertips. You know what I mean? You really have to make the time to do it.
Yeah.
And my hat's always off to anyone that makes the time to do it because it's not easy.
And we thought that
It's a hard.
it taking place in the back of a record store was a little extra cool factor to it.
Very on brand. It's like
Plus, it gives me a chance to be
you guys
like,
don't have like
what's that?
I was gonna say you guys don't have the dirty record store persona that I would expect. Someone that's broadcasting at the back of the record store. You guys.
I mean, we're not like comic book guy from The Simpsons or anything.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
that's exactly.
No.
No, We just are both like big collectors of music and just big advocates of music in general. And I'm always telling people about bands one way or another. Jeremy's doing the same, or we're talking together about them. So we just started this and started recording it, and surprisingly, people listened.
That's killer. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we get to talk to fucking cool people,
Yeah,
And
we just do it because we want to interview bands we like.
yeah, like, how'd you do that?
Same thing.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I put records out or why I make records. It's just I want to do things that I want to happen. It's just kind of it. It's always been the attitude.
So you've been you've been playing for quite a while now, like through your numerous lengthy resume of bands that you have.
Oh yeah, I started in the early '90s and haven't really stopped.
How old are
It's
you?
never been a thing about being a popular or like legendary, groundbreaking scenario. Like I said, it's about doing what I want to do until I don't want to do it anymore, and then I just find the next thing I want to do. But it's always been in the music lane. It's always been like I'm going to do this kind of band next until I get
always
that off my
music
plate.
related.
Yeah, it's always just like what idea I have at the time.
So when did you start playing guitar? Was it like at a young age or?
Yeah, I was in 6th grade. I heard AC/DC when I was in 6th grade.
Oh, you're like 12 years old.
And that would have been like in the early 1990s, late 80s. I'm trying to remember exactly. I saw Iron Maiden when I was 13. That was 91. So like early 90s. And I just loved it. I heard that. And I heard Back in Black, and I was like, holy shit, this is like the coolest thing ever. And it was like just like the hugest riff and like the Gibson SG. I was swooned. And that's what I wanted to do from there on, and that's all I ever did. I was never like in sports. I was never into whatever. I just wanted to make songs and play guitar.
That's
at my own
dope.
pace, at my own speed, my own level.
What was the first band you started as a kid?
Oh my God, it was before we can actually play. It was in 6th grade, I think, when I just got a guitar.
Yeah, well,
it might have been either called the Dream Assassins.
The Dream Assassins.
Dream Assassins. Oh my God, Dream Assassins came from an episode of Who's the Boss, where like Tony Danza gets mad at Angela and he calls her like a dream assassin. We were big on.
Oh, that's fucking sick, dude.
I was gonna guess fucking Freddy Krueger.
Like, Angela, you're a dream assassin. No, it's like it was Tony Danza, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like most of me and my friends back then were raised by TVs. Our parents would leave the TV on and just fucking leave us there all day.
Yeah, if I wasn't doing a musical thing, I'd definitely be doing a movie thing, raised by the television.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Nowadays, my kids are always wanted. I always got to find ways around it, but they always want to get on their device, whether it's like to play Roblox.
It's a crazy world, dude, with kids, man, I think.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, but my wife would be like, when we were kids, it was like that with TV. And I'm like, I know, you're not wrong. But I feel like we can do better than like our parents did in that aspect, and not just like let it completely consume every waking moment. So I literally was watching garbage I had no business watching. Like, it's fucking without watching MASH. I don't care about MASH, you know what I mean? But like, it was like that whole like drought where you're like, I don't want to go to CPAD. I'm going to see what else is on, and you just end up watching all kinds of weird shit that you never watch. And definitely, I think they have a huge repertoire of like obscure television from the 70s and 80s. That was like my babysitter growing up.
That's like
it's ingrained in your psyche. You remember that. It's weird and wild.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's like the majority of Family Guy's writing is fucking making fun of 70s and 80s sitcoms and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember we were. You ever seen the one with Surfing Bird, where he gets the Surfing Bird record and he keeps listening to it over and over again?
Yeah, the Trash Man record.
And Peter's voice sounds exactly like the Trash Man, so it's just really funny.
And they've like brought it back
every 2 seconds.
2 or 3 times, just randomly too. And I can't remember. Nice. Was it the same episode where like Stewie and Brian go out like Boys in the Hood style with a baseball bat to like smash the record and shit, and they have like a Beastie Boys. They have like a Beastie Boys breakdown.
We watched it in a hotel and it was like really funny, and my kids were really young at the time and they were cracking up, and I'm like, oh, this will be funny. We watched it on a DVD like years later, and it was like just every other word was a swear word. I was like, oh jeez,
it was like, those early seasons uncut. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time like my kid got into that stuff.
It was something else.
So since you've been playing music for so long, like you've done some international tours, and I'm assuming by now.
Oh yeah, like you said, you got back from Australia, right?
I got to go to Australia with Integrity, Japan, and Pulling Teeth, and Europe a bunch of times. You know what I mean? So thankfully, I'm grateful. I've gotten to travel a lot just from being with stupid bands. You know,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I do have to show for it. It's definitely not money or like any sort of stature, but it's like just getting to go cool places. You know,
I've been
definitely blessed in
asking
that aspect.
a lot of people this lately because it seems international touring is there's just more of it than stateside. But do you think that like your music was better received overseas than it was here?
It depended on the band. Pulling Teeth did really good when Pulling Teeth was, during its time. Whenever we played, it was good. Integrity shows, same. Integrity shows, I like the Integrity shows better in the U.S. Honestly, I always thought the U.S. People always like, I think once you get over the weirdness that you're somewhere else and it might look different and the people look different and it's like, it's a different, feels different. And you're judging the show on its merit. I think the U.S. still has like the best shit. Like my favorite show memories are usually shows in the U.S. Some legendary ones overseas for sure, but
Right.
I think if you're cards, I think most, if I had a top 10, a lot of them would be U.S. shows for sure.
That's cool to know.
Yeah,
That is good.
I mean, like,
because
I think Japan was sick. You know what I mean, like stuff like that, where it's like a total culture shock.
It
It's
seems to
amazing.
me that Japan, like just from the outside, like Japan, like adores American metal shit.
there's like a huge
Yeah,
hardcore scene in
Yeah, there's a
Japan.
big
It's
hardcore
weird.
scene there, and like seeing like a band like H2O play there, and there's like 100,000 people. You're like, what? Crazy, man.
They have like a wild thing where they can like just do any style better than we can. Like their bands and musicians.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love it. And like Australia, honestly, was real neat because it was kind of just like a weird America. You know what I mean? It was just like kind of like didn't look or feel much different being over there, except that we traveled really far.
That's a
I
long
thought
flight.
the water goes the wrong way and all that stuff that you see on The Simpsons.
Oh
Remember when Bart?
yeah. Everything's
Really bad?
upside down.
That's the first thing I did when I got there. It wasn't true. Yeah. But yeah, I think I get all like, teary eyed, but this has always been my favorite place for shows. I've always loved playing shows in the States for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never gotten to travel outside of America.
I've just been to Toronto.
I don't like planes that much, so kind of hard.
That's the motherland. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. We went there when I was in 6th grade, like on a field trip to see the Phantom of the Opera. It was pretty cool.
There was an era where Paul Stanley from Kiss was the Phantom in the Toronto run. He was the Phantom for a year. He did like a whole stretch.
I don't.
Oh shit!
I
didn't
want to
know
say I
that.
don't think so, but I honestly, that's the first time I've ever heard that. That's a good piece of information.
Yeah, I think you can look on YouTube and look up like some of the sets and listen to them. It's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, no, that I remember that show. I mean, that was an amazing,
Oh yeah.
totally different thing than what we're talking about, obviously. But anyway,
I mean, it was literally the same show. It was just Paul Stanley was wearing the Phantom makeup. It wasn't like featuring Paul Stanley from Kiss and like Gene Simmons wasn't there.
okay. So it's like it's
No, he was just using the Broadway
incognito.
role, like just as
Awesome.
completely low key, just doing the part.
Now I gotta fucking look that shit up later and see if I was there or not.
Yeah, it's a must for Kiss fans. It's trivia for sure.
Oh, we're gonna have to. We got a buddy Steve that's a
I'm a big
humongo Kiss fan because he was like a kid when they were huge,
Nice.
and I think now we have something over him that we can mess with him. So thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's like nothing like
Uh,
burning a Kiss fan, dude.
Yeah. So back to the album. Was there? I don't remember if you said this earlier, but I know I didn't ask this. Was there any bands or music in particular you were listening to that kind of helped shape the sound of the album?
Yeah, it was a big five. Aside from like the four metalcore gods I had mentioned before, when it was Integrity, Ringworm, Marauder, and All Out War, the big five that was I listened to like incessantly when making it was Metallica, Master of Puppets, Amoebix, Monolith, Cro-Mags, Best Wishes, Dokken, Beast from the East, the live record.
That-
That's an interesting
That
twist.
is, yeah, that's a very crazy twist.
Yeah, because they have all like the really like sinister riffs. It was,
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah, no, it makes sense actually with the solos and shit.
Yeah, and honestly, more so is the riffs. Like the Dokken riffs are very like real sinister sounding. The solos are all good, but like I was like, what's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
And
go
then
back and listen to that.
Bathory Under the Sign of the Black Mark was the other one. These were like
Oh,
records
right
I
on.
was just like, I just get obsessed over and like spend a lot of time dissecting and being like, oh, this is what I really like. It's like what I mentioned before, when you want to like write the record, your version of what you're listening to and what you like. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah, it's your interpretation of.
Yeah, exactly. That's a way better way to put it. Thanks.
That's a cool melting pot of artists, though. Like, especially the Doc and Twist, because
it's
I mean, the
awesome.
rest like you can kind of weave together, but Doc and like really stands out.
If you listen to the last Integrity song I did with them, "All Death Is Mine," you can totally see where things are starting to go that way. Like the riffs are totally like could be on a Dawkins or similar band, Rat record. You know, I mean, it's very or '83 Ozzy stuff like "Bark at the Moon" or "Ultimate Sin." It's just kind of cool. You know, it's just where it's always like my writing goes somewhere as far as music goes, and then I find the band that I want to use it for. But it's always like a constant journey. It just goes through different hills and valleys. You know.
Yeah.
Whatever's the time that I feel like doing.
I appreciate that instead of just like the same band coming out with some ridiculously off the wall record that doesn't sound like them at all.
Yeah, totally. You know,
like when Morbid Angel did that Industrial album.
Oh my god!
You're like, oh, what the fuck is this? This is not Morbid Angel.
Metallica did Lulu, and I was like, I managed to go through my whole life never hearing Lulu.
Yep.
I've never heard it.
And then my friend,
I've never even bothered listening to it.
Oh, you have to. It like redefines. Like
I've heard like a song, and I was just like, no fucking way, I'm good.
I literally only saw a clip and was like, I like Lou Reed. I dig some Metallica, but that together is not peanut butter and jelly, dude.
It really sounds like two different records playing at the same time. It's just like kind of wild. But somebody okayed it. That's the best part. You listen, you're like, wow, somebody was like,
I can make some money off this.
Well, they probably assumed since it was like two giant names, we were like, yeah, people will buy this, but at least like have the decency. If you know you're gonna exploit your own name just for profit, have the decency to make it something fucking good.
It could be
though. It also kind of took balls to be like, I'm gonna make like the giving of no fucks record of all time.
Right, and it's kind of like if like let's say I don't know, but let's say I'm James Hetfield and Lou Reed is like, do you want to do this, or you have the opportunity to work with them no matter what? You're probably gonna do it, you know.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. They're those type of guys. Like Lars show. Is like that dude.
Yeah, I know. I get it, but it's just
that Morbid Angel record's another one that comes into play where I'm just like, ooh, it's just like
or even the latest Converge album, or I could go on and on. There's so many.
My favorite point of reference, and that would always give me a soft spot, was the Warzone Metal album. Remember the Warzone Metal album with the letters on the front? Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah. So.
Like most people know, Don't Forget the Struggle and Open Your Eyes, and then that one came out. It sounds like the Beastie Boys, but like not good. It's like it's like everything that could be bad happens. And it's just like, but you gotta like admire the process. You're like, whoa, somebody like saw this through. Not only like they think hey, we got this idea.
This is a great
idea.
They
saw it through to the end, and I'll always respect that. You know what I mean? Like
Bad Religion, Into the Unknown. That's another one.
Oh yeah. I was just reading that fucking Wayne Kramer did like some studio sessions for Bad Religion.
Oh wow, that's cool.
On Stranger Than Fiction.
Really?
Yeah.
I never liked Bad Religion. I wish I could have more to comment, but like I don't know, something about Bad Religion always hurt me. I don't know if it's the vocals. The one harmony that they often resort to, like when they're doing it. It's just
I could see that. I just remember like being a kid and seeing the Crossbuster and being like, "That's a sweet fucking band name." And then I just
great logo, great name. It just wasn't what I mean. A lot of people say it about Kiss, and Kiss is my favorite band ever. People are like, "Oh, it looks like it's gonna be scary and all this and that." And it's not. It's like
right.
Like early 80s, if Unmasked songs come on, forget about it. Nah, it is what it is. But hey, guys, I'd hate to cut this short, but I actually got to dip because the kids are about to come home and I got to take them to Taco and Donuts.
Nope, that's cool. We were about to start wrapping up anyways because I got to get back in the front of the store.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was great meeting you guys and chatting it up. I appreciate you guys.
Man.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you taking the time to jump on, and we really enjoyed it.
Are you guys going to that Cold Design show in Detroit?
October one?
Yeah. I already got my ticket for it and shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe
I was supposed to go to Tie Down, and like I didn't, and like a bunch of shit came up like everything always does, and I was like, I am not missing this, so I'm already fucking going to that shit come hell or high water, dude.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's going to be one for the books. So yeah, keep in touch. Maybe we'll link up then.
Oh, that'd be fucking dope, man.
All right, man.
Cool.
Sounds good.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
enjoy the
too.
rest
All
of your
right.
day, dude.